All right, so let's jump in. Today, I'm going to be sharing with you the secret weapon that high performers are leveraging right now to regulate their nervous system and become trailblazers in their industry. So, this video is for you if you feel like you're in system overload right now. We've all had this screen come up on our phones or on our computers where it's max storage, right? Optimize your files. So if that's you right now, you are in the right place. This video is for you. And if it feels like life right now just looks like this, you're just being bombarded with information and communications and notifications, and it's just a bit distracting and overwhelming. This video is for you. So if you're wanting to get away from the chaos and the overthinking and the scattered thinking, and you're craving that clear, focused mind, I want you to go ahead and watch this video to the end. I have interviewed hundreds of business leaders, entrepreneurs, and what we found was that the number one thing blocking them from their true potential was distraction and procrastination. And then you can see in the chart on the left also things like imposter syndrome, overwhelm, things like not having regulated sleep. Majority of the people I've interviewed really struggle to keep a consistent routine and to show up consistently. They struggle with organizing their thoughts or their schedule, and it just seems like things are all swirling around. So I'm going to show you exactly how we've been able to organize the minds of some of the greats. Now, the truth is, anything that you are not focused on building intentionally is going to be falling in the other direction. It's just a law of nature. And what that looks like, and maybe you're on this right now, I hope you're not, but if you are, then you might be in the right place because we're going to be talking about this. If you let things fall just as the way they are without intentionally building, you're going to end up on this downward spiral. And what that looks like at the very baseline is having a dysregulated nervous system, right? Inconsistent sleep, inconsistent energy, inconsistent thought patterns, which leads you to being out of alignment and having dysfunction in certain areas of your life. And when you have dysfunction in certain areas of your life, you're going to have a busy, cluttered mind, which is going to lead to business decline, financial pressure, relationship pressure, and eventually burnout. So we want to make sure we're being extremely intentional to not let that happen. And so that's why we're going to turn that downward spiral instead into a strong foundation of a regulated nervous system, which is going to allow you to have a peak mental state, high performance skills and habits that you're able to sustain consistently, business optimization, and inevitably total freedom after that. Okay, so I've gotten incredible results with the clients that I've taken on. A few of them have had really unique results, like eliminating a sleep disorder after 3 years. I've had healing of physical pain come up from this. I've had clients that they pay 10x for what they did working with me. I've had clients 4 times their revenue in the first 3 months working with me. And this is all using unconventional, holistic methods. It's that secret weapon I mentioned in the beginning that I'm going to be sharing with you. Now, I just ask you this. I know if you're watching this, the chances are you're extremely busy and you're thinking, not another presentation. 2 things for you. One, I promise you're going to learn a lot. There's no fluff in this. You're going to learn a lot about the way your mind works, for one. You're going to get a lot of value out of this because I intentionally built it for someone just like you, the busy business owner. Okay, I'm not going to go slow. And secondly, I want you to know this. You don't have to watch the whole presentation. As soon as you say to yourself, shoot, I think I need this, just book your consult call. Book your consult call. And if you're being intellectually fed, which you will, and stimulated, go ahead and stick around to the end because I promise you, even if you don't book a call, you're going to learn a lot in the next 45 minutes or so. And this is what we're going to be going over. First, I'm going to share a crazy total freedom story. Like, how is this even possible? Then I'm going to be sharing with you the success secrets that I wish I knew before spending 12 years in therapy. Then I'm going to show you the no-brainer secret weapon, okay, that business moguls, celebrities, and even top athletes are leveraging. And from there, I will show you the rapid result method for nervous system regulation and peak mental performance. If you are a high performer, if you are a high achiever, if you have to operate at a high level, this is for you, okay? And at the end, I'll have an invitation for you to take the next step towards that freedom. So first of all, who am I? I'm Coach Tiffany Taylor. I'm the founder of Total Freedom Coaching. I'm an author, speaker, podcast host, and a master coach. And right now I'm based in the USA. Now, as a master practitioner of NLP, I'm blending neuropsychology and theology to help thousands of high performers regulate their nervous systems, declutter their mind, and reach even more business success online. Now, I'm extremely passionate about helping you become the most productive, successful, and free version of yourself. And that comes from my story. Okay. So, first of all, total freedom sounds like a buzzword. Oh, what is that? Here's what it means to me. Having total freedom is living at a baseline of soul level alignment, feeling liberated, and feeling truly fulfilled with what it is that you're doing. And that's having freedom simultaneously. That's having emotional freedom, physical freedom, financial freedom, mental freedom, right? Freedom in your own thoughts, and freedom spiritually. It's having all of those at the same time so that you can live what I would call a 10 out of 10 life, right? That's living a 10 out of 10 in every area of your life, which is 100% achievable. See, I believe that freedom is your birthright. And that being true, I'm sure you already have. If you're a high achiever, you probably have some big vision for your life. But I want you to just take a moment and think about what that is. What does a 10 out of 10 life look like for you? What do your relationships look like when you have a 10 out of 10 life? Whether that's your friendships, your business partnerships, your clients, your romantic relationships, your family relationships. What does your health look like and your fitness? What is a 10 out of 10 for you? Well, I can tell you potential. If someone else has it, you can have that too. So why not have the performance of an athlete? Why not have the mental state of a top performer or a business leader that you really admire and look up to? What does it look like to have a 10 out of 10 environment, 10 out of 10 home, community, to truly be living on purpose with a calling given to you and to be living in full alignment of that? What does it look like to be fully authentically you? And what is the potential that you hold within you? What lifestyle does that bring about? What is the movie that would play in your mind? That is 100% available to you. And maybe it might not feel like that right now. It might feel like there's some things blocking you or holding you back. That's fine. We're going to take care of that. But really focus on this big dream and vision. I don't believe there's a coincidence at all that you have a vision. I believe that's given to you. I believe that's a supernatural gift from God that you have a vision and a dream. And I believe with his help that he will allow you to come there. But we need to do some polishing on the way, right? You are the CEO of that calling. You're the manager of it. So you do get to have, be, and do it all in this life. But you have to make one decision first. And this is a decision that every successful person makes. Okay. And it's that I will not let my past determine my future. Okay. Now, I do not look like where I came from, and that is an absolute gift and blessing, but I was very intentional about that. Okay. Now, I don't like to give the whole story in this because it can be very long. So I'm going to give you the cliff notes of my story and where my passion comes from, because the reality is these are some pictures from my childhood. Okay. I was not doing well, not internally, not externally. And if you look at the statistics of where I come from, I don't make sense. My life is very illogical. My success and my freedom is very illogical. The things I've done and accomplished make no sense given where I came from. And when you look at from a psychological perspective, it definitely doesn't make sense. I've been diagnosed with OCD, trichotillomania, generalized anxiety disorder, ADD, ADHD, complex post-traumatic stress disorder, binge eating disorder, panic attack disorder. Like, this doesn't even make sense. If you look at this alone, you just take this snapshot of how I was performing mentally. This is not the snapshot of a high performer. This is not the snapshot of someone who's going to be wildly successful in every area of life. It just doesn't make sense. And what I hated even more was the list of prescriptions that I got. Like, you're going to be in lifelong therapy, or all these other chemicals, harsh chemicals that affect every area of the body that I was diagnosed with. I didn't believe in this. I didn't like this snapshot. And if there was one thing I knew that I clung on to, and I thank God for this, is that you can change your brain. Your brain has the ability to heal itself, to transform itself. It knows how to come back into order. You just have to support it in getting there. Now, I was the poster child for saying I don't need help after therapy, okay? I said I graduated therapy. I did everything all right. I did all my healing work. Meanwhile, I still had an inner critic. I still said horrible things to myself that I would never say to another person. I would never speak to another human being like that. I was constantly distracted. I was such a perfectionist that gave me crippling anxiety. I did things over and over and over and over again. I wasted so much time trying to be perfect. And I would, the idea that I couldn't be perfect would put me into procrastination, or I just wouldn't do anything at all. And I kept delaying the work that I knew I was supposed to be focused on. I had a scarcity mindset, and I was terrified to invest because the relationship with money that I had growing up, I was really struggling to cope with ADD and time management. With ADD, simple things were really hard, but complex tasks seemed really easy, and it made things hard for me. I definitely had unresolved trauma that was bottled up, and that was showing up for me as toxic relationship patterns, even just in the relationship I had with myself. More frustrating than that was when everything seemed to be going really good in my life, all of a sudden I'd get flashbacks from the past, like really traumatic ones. I'm like, where is this coming from? Or everything would look good on paper, but then I'd have these resurfacing emotions that had nothing to do with my life right now. And I would ask, why is this coming up? I thought I dealt with this already. Like, why now? Everything's so good. It was extremely frustrating for me, and it was painful. And I didn't know how to navigate the unpredictable triggers, because I'd be fine one moment and then something would trigger me, and boom, I'm that kid again going through whatever the experience was at the time. Um, I also, struggle to manage my emotions because I would either be completely numb and apathetic, which I was very proud of at the time. I'm not emotional. I don't have emotions. Nothing can move me. Or I'd be overly emotional and overwhelmed by it. And there didn't seem to be an in between. I was shy, I would say. I was introverted, but really that was just me having a fear of being judged or rejected. I was constantly feeling not enough, not good enough, not smart enough, not old enough, not young enough, right? Not worthy of the success that I really had a dream of creating. I shrunk my personality. I silenced my own voice. I was terrified of public speaking. Um, and I just really struggled to trust myself and trust others, even in business. That really affected me. And now here's the thing: the world will tell you, oh, that's normal. You're a human being. Everyone deals with that. That's okay. But see, I didn't want to be normal. That's the problem. I didn't want to be like everyone who's dealing with this. I wanted to be different. I wanted to be the top 1%. So something had to change. And I knew that. And I knew that it was in my hands. And that's how I discovered the secret weapon that I'm going to share with you today. I'm not the first person to discover this. I think that was the most interesting part of my discovery, is that top athletes, business moguls, celebrities, all the top tier people in every industry are using this. Okay, I was late to the game. Okay, but that's why I'm going to share that with you now, because I feel like everyone needs to know about this. Once I made this discovery, everything in my life changed. Everything, every area of my life changed. Okay, measurably so. I was anything but free, as you could see from the list of diagnoses. But when I discovered this alternative, holistic way to heal my brain using what I call the underground railroad to freedom in the brain, I was able to completely heal binge eating disorder. Gone. Completely heal panic attack disorder, generalized anxiety disorder, post traumatic stress disorder. All gone. Psychologists today cannot figure out how this was even possible. They say it shouldn't have happened. It's not normal. No one does that. Still today, people are saying that. Okay. I lost 90 pounds from my highest weight and kept it off. I obsessively learned about biohacking to combat the ADHD and anxiety so I could have peak mental performance. So it wasn't affecting me the same way. I was able to heal damaging trauma responses. I was able to let go of things like anger that I had towards my past or towards my parents. I traveled through 36 countries, 6 continents solo, and built an online business that allowed me to travel even more. I've made hundreds of thousands of dollars on social media, and I've helped thousands of high performers leverage holistic healing, transform, and upgrade their business performance. Okay. This is nonsensical. But if you want to live in a logical, nonsensical life, I want you to keep watching this, because I'm going to show you exactly how. So here's what I wish I knew before spending 12 years in therapy with no results to show for it. And it's not the amount that it would cost. No, it's not the dollar amount that it would cost of spending 12 years in therapy. No, that's expensive, but that's not the one thing I wish I knew. And it's not that at the end of the 12 years, I'd still feel like something was wrong with me, like I was broken or damaged or numb. Nope, it's not that. What I wish I knew is that I could release the past and heal without having to relive it. There was nothing more painful for me than looking at the counseling and the therapy techniques where I had to talk about my trauma every week. It was extremely painful and re-traumatizing. I didn't want to talk about that. I don't want to look that way. I'm going forward. I want forward thinking. I don't want to be sitting in the past every week. Why dig it up every week? And I wouldn't mind doing that if it actually got me somewhere, but the truth is, it doesn't. It didn't. And the other truth was, it wouldn't have to take years for my brain to heal those old patterns. Nope. Those are myths from the mental health industry that I'm completely against. And also what I wish I knew is that on the other side of regulating my nervous system was everything I ever wanted. Absolutely everything. So I hope you have that image in that movie theater of what your dream life would look like. I can show you what mine looked like. My dream life was being able to travel to any country on any moment I wanted to just because I felt like it. It was living in a business that was completely aligned with the purpose and calling of my life. Full alignment there. It was create masterminds in different countries for different entrepreneurs around the world. It was exploring so many hobbies, I can't count them, and doing things that are adventurous, whether that's driving motorcycles around Thailand or doing Muay Thai kickboxing in Miami and rollerblading or horseback riding. I have a lot of, wild hobbies. But I think most fulfilling for me was just being the authentic, fullest expression of myself and getting to carry that in business and make a real impact on others. And for me, that looked like speaking. I've been on, 50 plus podcasts and stages around the world. I've been flown out to speak, and I've been able to share my work with people who really, really desperately needed to hear it. And that's been the most fulfilling for me. Now, for me, what healing looks like is experiencing the opposite of the symptoms that I wanted to treat. It is having a consistent, regulated nervous system. It is having the opposite response to the things that used to trigger me. It is realizing and recognizing that my old patterns and old emotions no longer have a hold on me. It's feeling healthy in every way. And it's having the confidence, presence, and relationships fully redeemed and restored. Now, what is the no-brainer way to get rapid, predictable results? Okay. I know neuroscience can be incredibly overwhelming for someone who hasn't studied psychology, neurology, theology, any of these things. And my goal is to make this really simple for you. I've already did the studying the thousands of hours so that you don't have to, but I'm going to make this really simple for you. Okay. What is the no-brainer way to get results? How can I guarantee results? Well, it's that secret weapon. Okay. The secret weapon they had is that they all leveraged coaching to pin the root causes of their symptoms, to release the old programming they had, and to build feedback loops for success. Okay, when I went down this rabbit hole, turns out Serena Williams, Conor McGregor, Tony Robbins, Oprah Winfrey, they're all leveraging coaching. Okay, you look at Tiger Woods, Bill Gates. I think the most surprising to me in my research, guys, Warren Buffett. This man's a speaker. I know him as a speaker. Would you imagine that Warren Buffett had a fear of public speaking? Now, I want you to think of a minute. What if Warren Buffett never overcame his fear of public speaking? How many millions of lives would not have had the impact? They would not have been impacted. They wouldn't have been touched. I want you to think generationally the loss of the impact that would have if he did not overcome that fear of public speaking. And I want you to see that in him, because I can't fathom him not being a speaker. I want you to see that in yourself too. What is the world missing out on if you don't overcome some of these emotions or fears or doubts holding you back? It's probably far greater than you can even imagine, especially when you look at it generationally. There's a ripple effect to what you do. And it's your responsibility to be the manager of your own calling in that, right? And I wanted to see, okay, in the business world, who else figured these out? Oh, I don't know. Grant Cardone, Russell Brunson, Dean Graziosi, Dan Locke, Marie Forleo, Brandon Burchard, Gary Vee. If you're in business marketing world like I am, these are some big names. They all knew something I didn't know. It wasn't just coaching that they leveraged. It was a specific kind of coaching. Okay. And let me show you exactly why it's a no-brainer. There's two parts of your mind. You have the conscious mind and you have the subconscious mind. Okay. This is the control center for your nervous system. It has two parts. Now, Your subconscious mind is responsible for 90 to 95% of what you do every day. It is far more powerful. It's what holds all of your patterns and your programming, your thoughts, your identity, your memories, everything. Okay. This is the most powerful part of your mind. So if you want to change your identity, if you want to change your life, if you want to change the opportunity to reach the potential you have on you, what makes more sense? Which one do you need to leverage? The 5% or the 95? This is why I call it a no-brainer, right? You want to tap into the 95%. You want to tap in to the most powerful part of your mind. Now, traditional methods like talk therapy and counseling don't leverage the subconscious mind. They can't access it. They can't program it. And that's the biggest problem. And the second biggest problem is that traditional methods are limited by what you can remember and recall. If you don't know what's causing these patterns and you can't talk about them, then traditional therapy is not going to be able to help you because you can't discover the root cause and neither can they. So the other problem with this is once I got into this work, I realized I've never had a client actually know the root cause of their patterns. Everyone's had their guesses. And usually the guess is, oh, it's the worst thing that ever happened to me. It's my worst trauma that made me this way. And 10 out of 10 times, it is actually not that. It is something else. And it's something they couldn't remember. It was a repressed memory. And I say repressed memory because your brain, your body, your subconscious has photographic memory. It remembers everything that's ever happened to you. Only what's limited is your recall function. You can't recall on a dime everything that ever happened to you. Doesn't mean it's not there. But if you can access the repressed memories and clear them, now you're able to rewrite your patterns, okay? The greats all figured this out already. And that's why I'm happy you're here because now you're catching on too. Now it is your turn. Now I brought up the screen earlier. Let's take a deeper look. I don't know about you, but the most frustrating thing for me when I get this screen of storage full is that other bar. It's like this gray bar that says other. What does other mean? Why would I delete that small red section for apps when I have this 150 gigabytes of other? I want to clear the other. Well, you'd have to be a software engineer to get into that other because it's in the programming of the computer, right? That's the system updates that are there. So I agree. Let's knock out the gray bar, but let's do it the right way, right? That gray bar, that's your subconscious mind. That is an overstorage of emotions and thoughts and memories that just need to be cleared and resolved. And just like that computer here, you have your own computer in your mind. That's the conscious and the subconscious mind. What happens to any machine when you don't maintain it, right? Even your computer, think about your computer, think about your car. If you don't maintain those things over time, things break. You get malware, a virus, it needs to be updated. And if you don't, it falls apart. Your mind is the same way. If you are a high performer and you rely on your mind, if you rely on your sharpness of thought, your clarity of thinking, then this is what you need to be thinking about. Am I investing in doing the maintenance work on my mind? And I'll give you an example of what that looks like. You have where you are right now, and you have that vision of where you want to be, whether that's your dream, your goals, whatever that looks like. There's a few keys you're going to need to get there. That's going to be emotional intelligence, mental clarity and focus, unshakable confidence, and high performance habits. Easy, cake. Everyone talks about that, right? But do we talk about what's blocking you from getting there? Because your road track right now, your racetrack, might very well look like this screen. You have traffic cones, you have a car accident, you have an elephant, you have all these things blocking you. But you're so focused on what you need that you're not looking at what do I need to get out of my way, right? What do you need to get out of your way? If it's emotional intelligence that you need, that might be blocked by past mistakes, childhood imprints, repressed memories, just being emotionally constipated or having unresolved trauma. If you don't clear that stuff out of your way, doesn't matter how many times you repeat, I'm emotionally intelligent, you're not going to get there. You need to do the clearing work first, okay? Emotional intelligence is the result of doing the clearing work. It is a natural state of being when you've released the past, okay? It's not something you have to force or try. Same thing for mental clarity and focus. That's a natural state of being, but it gets blocked by things like overwhelm, anxiety, ruminating on the past, indecision, distraction. You need to clear out the things blocking you if you want mental clarity and focus. It's not something to be gained. It's something that needs to be removed to allow access again. Same thing. You want confidence. You want that self-belief. Well, you're going to have to remove what's in the way of that. because confidence is a natural state of being. So maybe that means you need to delete the doubt, delete the fear, imposter syndrome. Maybe it's those things you need to be letting go of, right? Same thing with high performance habits. You can read the book, okay? You're not going to have high performance habits by reading a book or listening to a podcast. You need to let go of what's blocking you from having that, which might be, I don't know what my values are, or they're out of alignment, or poor discipline and consistency, or lack of prioritization and clarity, or not just having a structured plan. So I'm flipping the way most people think right now. It's not, how do I add these things to my life? It's, what do I need to remove from my life in order to have a really clear racetrack? Because if you're a high performer, you have talents and skills that you're using right now, and you are ready to run. That's why you're busy. You're making the most of what you have, and that's incredible. Now I want to take you 10 steps further, and I want to clear out that path so you can have a sustainable, fast journey on the trajectory that you're supposed to be on. Okay. And if this is you and you're thinking, this is me, I need that. That's exactly what my racetrack looks like right now. I want you to book a consult call below. Okay. This is exactly for you. Now, how do these celebrities and these business moguls hack their mental software? They use something called neurolinguistic programming. Okay. Now, this is an academic textbook study of tools and techniques that have been in psychology for years. So I'm not going to teach you all of NLP right now. It's not possible to do, but I'm going to give you the high level of what that is and how you can use it too. So let's break it down. Neurolinguistic programming. Neuro stands for our nervous system. Linguistic is our language patterns, and programming are the patterns and the routines and the habits that we have. What we found is that your brain chemistry is affected by the language patterns that you use. And you can use language patterns to hijack and reprogram your subconscious mind. Okay? And it looks a lot like this. It is the study of how we process information. And every day we're getting in 264 bits of information from all of our five senses. And we don't maintain all of that information. We're now generalizing, deleting, and distorting that information based on our filters. Okay? Really important. The filters are everything from identity to attitude. Once we filter that, that's when we create what's a memory to us. It's our internal experience. This is the reason two people can be in the same room sharing an experience, and when they leave that room, they have totally different memories of it. It's because we have different filters inside. And that's important because the memory and the way we experience the world is going to affect our state and our behavior. The actions that we take and we don't take are affected by this. And the actions that we take or don't take is what affects our ability to create that dream business and that dream life that we have. That 10 out of 10 life is dependent on those programs that we have and those filters that we've created. So that's where we get to do the inner work of changing that. Now, this isn't some new thing that just came out, okay? Let's take a look at the history here. If you don't like history, skip ahead a minute and a half. All right, we've been studying the way the mind works since 300 BC. And Aristotle is actually the first person that's credited with mentioning a stream of time. And this is how we experience time and memories. We're going to fast forward all the way to 1890 when we learned that our brain stores memories linearly. Okay, we have a way of knowing the difference between something happened a week ago versus 10 years ago. Okay, all those memories are stored in a specific way. Then eventually we got into Gestalt therapy, the way our memories are stored holographically. Key thing here in 1958, the American Medical Association recognized language patterns, hypnotic language patterns, as a substitute for anesthesia. I want you to think about something. A discovery was made that our words can be so powerful that they can be a valid, accredited substitute for anesthesia for surgeries. Okay? That is how powerful your words are. So powerful, so undeniable under research. The American Medical Association recognized that and allows that as a substitute for surgery. Okay? That's how powerful your words are. And that is under the umbrella of NLP as well. Okay? Then one of the top personal development books comes out, Power of Your Subconscious Mind. And then things started rapidly picking up. Okay, people started realizing how powerful this is. In the 70s, NLP is developed. In the 80s, timeline reimprinting. this is fascinating, was developed. 1990s, we're in the refining period. Tony Robbins comes up into mainstream, and everyone gets to know him. He releases his book, Unleash the Power Within. And now you have an entire body of researchers and practitioners around the world that are further developing these techniques. In the early 2000s, neuroplasticity and emotional memory research is backing all of the claims of NLP. Studies are now showing and reinforcing the brain's ability to reorganize itself and to heal itself. And now you have timeline-based therapies and reshaping the emotional responses to past events. That is your ability to reorganize your mind. Now, marketers pick this up, okay? Even more exciting if you're in business like me. Marketers pick this up. And now you have NLP-inspired concepts like pattern interrupts, emotional triggers, sensory-based language, okay? Just like all the big marketers on the screen we looked at before. And in the 2020s, timeline engineering, which is a derivative of timeline therapy and time techniques, became popular in coaching. And it is quickly used for resolving limiting beliefs, trauma, negative emotions, and phobias. Okay, so that is what the evolution of that looks like. And when I asked ChatGPT, who's used these techniques, let's take a look. Oh, only the greats: Tony Robbins, Oprah Winfrey, Serena Williams, Michael Jordan, Tiger Woods, J.K. Rowling. These are top performers. Okay, and I think that is the most evidential point here. Is sometimes you just need to clear the racetrack. These people took away what was in front of them that was blocking them from their success. They always had the potential in them. Most people do. It's not that you're lacking potential, it's that your road is blocked. So that is why together we're going to declutter your mind and heal your nervous system. And we do that in 4 stages. The first stage is unloading and unpacking. Once we unload and unpack everything that's getting stored with the scattered brain, that's when we're able to do some release work. And from the release work, we can now rewire and rekindle and reshape and then rebrand yourself. Now, I listen to what my clients are saying. I've been doing this for years. I listen to what my clients are saying, and they're busy. They don't want to spend months or years trying to get these results. They know they're acutely aware of what's blocking them from their success. They are happy with where they're at, but they want to get further, right? They're already successful. They're already doing $350K a month, $400K a month, $700K a month. They're already super successful, and they want to be more consistent. They want to win the day, and they don't want to force it. Okay, they want a regulated nervous system. They want to enjoy the process. And so before, what a typical timeline and working with a coach would look like was 3 to 6 months of weekly sessions. You would do the emotional release work, you would do the rewiring work, and then you would do the rebranding work. And it would take a few months because you'd only have a certain amount of time a week. For the busy high performer, an hour a week is valuable time, and that is a long commitment, right? We want results now. And personally, I don't think there's anything wrong with wanting fast results. The mind can handle it. Okay, the mind doesn't take time. It doesn't take time to heal, because you guys, I've seen clients who are in their 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s. Time did not heal them of these things, but doing the subconscious work did. Okay. To collapse time and to collapse the amount of time it took to get results, I took the most powerful techniques known to man, and I created a process for the busy high achievers who prefer the rapid results, because that was me. So how are high performers decluttering their mind and doing this in just a day? We're taking that whole process and we're breaking it down into literally one day, 5 to 8 hours of coaching together straight, instead of doing 8 to 12 weeks of 1 hour a week. So release. We're doing release work. Let me talk about what that means, because you're like, what do I need to release? I'm fine. I don't have emotions. I've been there. Okay. We're going to introduce you to your emotions right now. If you haven't seen this before, this is an emotion wheel. Okay. Now, when I say we need to release things like anger and sadness and guilt, I've heard people say, well, I don't feel angry, or I don't feel sad. I'm fine. I got over it. But you might day to day experience some jealousy, feel distant from people, infuriated. Maybe you just feel withdrawn entirely, or, resentful. Maybe you feel disrespected. Those are all indicators pointing back to the root cause of anger. Same thing with fear. Same thing with sadness. Like maybe you don't feel sad, but you're still disappointed about some things. You still feel let down or betrayed. Still feel maybe isolated or victimized. And when it comes to, feeling unfocused, fatigued, pressured, apathetic, indifferent, overwhelmed, that's all coming from a fearful root. This is why we need to let go of these things. And through my work, I've learned you can't let go of these things out of order too. Anger has to go. There's a certain order to things. Anger has to go first, even if you're not resonating with anger. You can't let go of things like fear until the anger and the sadness are removed. Okay. We've optimized this process. And from there, once all the emotions are taken out, now we can unload and pack. We can let go of those root causes that are showing up, all of your other symptoms that you want to get out of the way. We can rewire that. We're replacing now any of your insecurities. You're not stuck with those. We can replace those. We can replace your limiting beliefs. We can replace the doubt and the fear with confidence, with unwavering faith, and with strength, no matter what's happened in the past. No matter what mistakes you've made, no matter what the last few months or years looked like, we can fully restore the confidence, strength, and faith. And then from there, now you have the space to look at those high performance habits. Now we can reprogram the mind for clarity, focus, consistency, and success. And what that looks like in terms of a schedule, it looks like this. It's usually like a 9 to 5 day. Could go longer, it could go shorter. It's a little bit different per person, but the process is about the same. And what's important about the process is it's highly tailored specifically to you. It is different for everyone. That strategic interview is so powerful because in 90 minutes, I'm interviewing you. I'm asking very pointed questions that were decided on beforehand, and I am listening in to your language patterns to discover what is going on in the subconscious so that with pinpoint accuracy, I can remove the root cause without you having to share all the details and all the stories of everything that ever happened to you. Okay. And I'm going to share with you what some of my clients have had to say after going through this process. This is Alex, and by the way, I have permission to share all of these. These are all publicly posted on my YouTube, where all the testimonials are. Now, Alex says a financial investor, and he said, I've invested in other coaching before, but this was different. It was deep, it was personal, and it was life-changing. Tiffany gave me the clarity and tools to navigate through a difficult season of personal losses and challenges while staying focused on my goals. I've been stuck in the same cycle for years, but after our session, I finally found the clarity and direction I needed to move forward in my life and business. I've known about NLP for decades, but Tiffany showed me how to apply it in a way that truly transformed my life. After years of feeling like I was just going through the motions, I now have a clear sense of purpose and direction in my life and business. I recommend this to anyone feeling stuck. This was the best investment I made in myself. Okay, this is Penny. Penny is a happiness hacker out of Australia. And she says her coaching is like a masterclass in understanding your own potential and removing self-imposed limitations. From a positive psychology PhD herself, okay? Working with Tiffany was a home run. She completely understood my challenges and pain points in a way no one else has. I thought I was productive before, but Tiffany showed me how to elevate my performance while maintaining personal balance. And just as a backstory here, this is a single mom with a very successful business, speaking business being flown out all around the world, working with Fortune 100 companies. And she was working on her PhD at the time, okay? Very busy woman. And she said, working with me has been a game-changing experience for her that continues to reshape how she approaches her personal and professional life. She's the way that Tiffany breaks down complex personal patterns is nothing short of remarkable. Her coaching goes beyond surface level solutions. It's a deep dive into personal transformation. Tiff helped me create harmony between my personal well-being and professional ambitions. And at the end, and this is what I love, this is so important, I feel complete. I feel like you've done your work here. How many people can say that that is the goal of their actual coaching? My goal is not to work with people for long term like that. If you want us to hang around, by all means, stick around. But I want you to get the result that you came for, and I want you to get that result quick because you don't have to sit in this stuff, okay? You get to feel complete at the end, and that's something all my clients share after going through this process with me. And we have Elizabeth here. What I loved most was that I didn't have to share every painful detail, yet I still achieved incredible breakthroughs. I felt stuck for years, but working with Tiffany completely changed my perspective and helped me move forward. Her approach intrigued me because it addressed both the physical and mental aspects of my struggles. I now have space to feel peace, something I never thought was possible with my constant anxiety before. Anxiety gone. It is poor programming, can be removed literally in a day. I've watched my clients heal themselves of this, okay? After the breakthrough day, I felt like a weight was lifted. I told my husband something is missing, but in the best way. The anxiety and clutter in my mind are just gone. Even when faced with the same situations that used to trigger me, I now feel calm and centered. I'd recommend this to anyone looking for clarity, peace, and a clear direction in life. It's worth it. And lastly, we have Angela Duncan over here. Tiffany's coaching broke through the walls that therapy and other programs couldn't. Here you have another highly successful high performer, investor, founder, exited founder. Okay. She's a master networker. She's a podcast host as well. Tiffany helped me unpack layers of trauma I didn't even know existed. The work we did together allowed me to sleep peacefully at night for the first time in years. The breakthroughs I had with her felt like lifting years of weight off my shoulders. I've always had coaches, but her approach was life-changing for me. Her coaching was the catalyst for unlocking my full potential. And within a month after working together, she had the idea, from idea to execution, of hosting her own event. And she hosted a sold-out event, eventually reached a top 10 podcast, all because we were able to unlock her voice while working together here. Now, if you feel like something's been holding you back, maybe you do know what it is, maybe you don't, but it feels like nothing else seems to be working or changing right now. I want to ask you the question, what is your cost of inaction? We all know ROI, return on investment. What's your COI? What is the cost if you allow things to slowly go into entropy where everything's falling apart? What will happen if you don't break this cycle where you are right now? If you just allow yourself to drift just a little bit every day, what is that going to cost you? And I want you to really think, and I want you to fill in the blank for me. The cost of my distraction and my distractibility is what? What is the cost to you right now? What is the cost to you a year from now? 3 years from now? 10 years from now? What is this distraction costing you? What is anxiety costing you? The constant overwhelm, constant fatigue, overthinking, the ruminating. What is the cost of that? Not just now, in the future. What is that costing you in your relationships? What is the cost of your self-doubt? What would it look like if you didn't have self-doubt? What would it look like if you went to make a decision and you weren't thinking about the last time you made a poor decision, or you made the wrong decision, or you messed up, or you made a mistake? What is that self-doubt really costing you? Not just right now, not just in your reputation, not just in your business results, but 10 years from now, 20 years from now, 30 years from now. What is the cost? That cost of overthinking, the cost of your indecision, whether that's looking like procrastination or self-sabotage, or just not being clear, so not taking a step forward and creating a game plan that you'll actually stick to consistently. What is the cost to you if something doesn't change? Chances are you don't need another book, course, mastermind, in-person training seminar. You don't need lengthy video content to binge watch. And you don't need endless generic workbooks or worksheets or assignments to complete anymore. Chances are you already graduated from that too. What you do need is a laser-focused, personalized coaching approach to help you create structure and focus. What you do need is to clear your mind, eliminate the things that are blocking you, right? Clear out that road track. You need convenient access to a trustworthy professional that you can ask your questions to. And you need a minimum information diet, okay, to create dramatic results. Those are likely the things that you need. Now, you can spend $40,000 in your education and spend months studying the subconscious mind, getting your certifications in NLP, and really learning the language patterns going to help you reshape the way that you think. You can listen to all the books and the podcasts. You can watch the YouTube videos. And you can do all of that at the end to find out that even as a master practitioner, you cannot do this on your own. You can't do it to yourself. It's a done with you process, even as a master. So you can do all that, or you can work with a specialist who's been doing this for years, who has a 100% proven track record of getting results. And we can do this together with you, and we can do this in a day, okay? And get back to work so that this stuff isn't holding you back anymore. If you're an action taker and you're thinking, all right, you've already done the math, probably you're ahead of me, right? Your cost of inaction is too high to not book a call. I want you to book your consult call below. What's going to happen is you're going to book a time that works for you. You're going to answer a few questions for me, and we're just going to discuss together. Is this a good fit for you? I'm going to get to know you and your background, and we're going to discover if or do we have chemistry to work together. And if I feel like you're a really good fit for this process, and I know beyond the shadow of a doubt that I'm going to get you results, then I will give you an invitation to work with me. Okay, that's by application only, but I want you to go ahead and book a call now. Even if you're like, I'm not sure yet, I'm still on the fence, that's what the call is for. Okay, just to bring more clarity. But if you made it this far, the chances are this is definitely for you. And I want to have a conversation for you around this. Okay. And I'm going to leave you with this March 23rd, 2020. March 23rd, 2020 is a day I had a motorcycle accident and I nearly lost my life. And I remember at this time in my life, I just felt alone. I was filled with fear and anxiety. And while I was so happy because I lived a beautiful life, I accomplished incredible things, I knew I had so much more in the tank to give. And I just didn't because I let things hold me back. That was the day I made the decision. I'm not letting any of even the small things that people call normal hold me back anymore. And I 10x'd, 100x'd my life since then. And I hope no one has a near-death experience. I don't wish that on anyone, but I do wish everyone have a moment where they think, how much do I have still? How much do I have left to give? How much is in the tank? And what do I need to let go of in order to get there? I hope to see you on a call soon, and I wish you a great rest of your day.